Several Hallmark movies. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Tricia Helfer.
Hello there.
Look at you not using steps either.
I just followed you.
It's a hype, man.
Yeah. It's fun when you do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's good for everything like that. It's bad for airplanes.
Oh, yes.
It hurts every time.
Yeah, you get that restless leg syndrome and you're just like here.
Yeah, and the guy who's putting their seat right back so you can do dental surgery on him, do not like that.
But you can kind of step over if you're on the inside without waking the other person sometimes, yes.
You are much more graceful than I am. I would plant in the center of the plane. So I was reading your IMDb listing of everything that you've been on, and when do you sleep? You're on everything.
Well, I haven't been on Indeed for a while, so it feels like I haven't worked for ages. But no, I've been very fortunate in my career since I started to kind of continually work. There's definitely ebbs and flows in the business, and you have to be comfortable with those. I've been very fortunate to be able to be part of different things.
How do you choose what you want to do or what you're going to do next?
I think you have to. There has to be a connection to it somehow, to either the character or one of the other actors that you want to work with, or a director or a producer or something like that. Battlestar was my first series. I had started acting the year before, and so coming off of Battlestar, I got offered quite a few sci-fi things that I didn't feel were up to the bar that Battlestar was, and so I kind of shied away from it for a while. And for me as an actor, I like playing different types of roles. I have had quite a few things in the sci-fi fantasy genre, but I've also had a lot of things outside of that as well. Played lawyers and FBI agents and Texas Rangers and just regular Joe Blows, whatever, and I think to me that's more exciting when you get to play all different types of things. So if I've been playing kind of one thing for a while, a few lawyer roles in a row, that I'm like, okay, well maybe let's shake things up and do something different.
Well, and I'm going to skip it out of my list because you play multiple characters in the same shows. You've done it on Battlestar Galactica, where you played 6, and you played 6, and you played 6. And then on Lucifer, you played Charlotte, but then you played Charlotte as the goddess, and then you played Charlotte after realizing she was the goddess. How do you approach that? How do you layer those characters differently?
Well, with Lucifer, in season 2, I really did just play Mom, because when we first see Charlotte, she's actually been killed. Like when we first see it, Charlotte, Mom is waking up and coming alive in Charlotte's body. So then in season 3, when I really was playing, I played Charlotte at the very end, waking up on the beach. But that's just a moment of like, what the heck just happened? They're different characters, right? So even with Battlestar as well, I looked at each individual 6 as, coming from their perspective. So they may look the same, but their perception of things is different. They think differently. They see things differently. They've had different experiences. So with Charlotte, I wanted to take away a little, change the inflection in her voice a little bit, where Mom, the goddess, was down on humanity, and she had maybe more of a grandness to her. And maybe some of that would come out in the way she would speak and the way she would kind of move. With Charlotte, she was somebody that she was a very high-powered defense attorney, and very, her mind, everything was very, the thought for her that she was possibly going crazy and losing her mind was one of the worst things that could happen to her. Somebody that relies on that kind of intellect and being the one to manipulate a situation and understand and be able to get her clients off. So for her, she had more of a directness and less of, but that also she was hiding it, hiding the fact that she thought she was going crazy and hiding her anxiety over it. And then what happens when she finds out what's really true? So, you subtly change certain things about the physicality. And, so Charlotte would never do something like this. but Mom would. You know, so it's hand movements, it's the way you kind of move in a room, or you walk, or you use subtle speech changes.
Do you think you got that from starting out modeling? Like having to be very aware of how you're presenting, or?
I don't know. It's actually an interesting question. I've never really been asked that in terms of. You know, I think there is some element that's probably true about that. Yes, where you do, as a model, you do have to portray different characters every day, depending on if you're in a business suit and you're selling to, you know, the professional type crowd, or if you're in, you know, grunge wear and you're selling rocker t-shirts or whatever. So you do have to kind of become a different character. So maybe some physicality came a little bit more natural because you are aware of that.
And did you know Charlotte was coming back when you started playing Mom? Did you know that was part of the arc? So did you hold anything back or say, I'm going to bring this in when she comes back?
No, I was originally just one season.
Okay.
I was supposed to just be second season as Mom. And then a couple episodes in, they said, hey, we think we want to try and bring you back for another year after this. So I did know, I didn't know in the very beginning, no. But I did know more than the end of the season, that I was going to be coming back for one more year to do. I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. I don't think they did either at the time. But yeah, so I got a bonus year.
And how hard was it coming into a show, being a regular on a show that already had existed? Like everybody knew each other before you got there.
One of the hardest things is coming into a show that's already existing. Yes. Actually, even harder than coming in as a main character for the season is a guest role. Coming in as a guest character, especially a lead guest character where you're in the entire episode, can be very daunting because you don't know the crew, you don't know the cast, you don't know, and sometimes you get casts that aren't very friendly and aren't very welcoming. Then on the flip side, you get some that are incredibly welcoming, and you know, I've had both situations. But if you're coming in more of a lead role for the season or 2 seasons or something like that, you just hope it's a nice cast. With Battlestar, or not Battlestar, Lucifer, they're an amazing cast of really warm, genuine people. And Tom Ellis is he's a doll, and he's incredibly welcoming to everybody. If it's somebody coming in to play one scene, he introduces himself and he's friendly. So I was welcomed with open arms. And a couple of them had, both my sons, Amenadiel and Lucifer, Tom and DD, both had seen Battlestar Galactica. So Tom was actually a big fan of it. And so he's like, Number 6 is playing my mom. This is weird. So he actually got into it. He was away filming something, on location somewhere, and he said he had a lot of free time and watched it, and he just binged it and loved the show. So, when you come onto a show where people know your work, and the more you work in the business, the longer you've been in it, chances are there's somebody, that's
knows your work.
Yeah, and I did a guest role on, I can't remember the name of it now. It was a lawyer show.
Suits.
It wasn't Suits. And Eamon Walker, who's on Chicago Fire, he played on, and the rest of the cast wasn't really very friendly to me, but he was lovely, and he had seen Battlestar, and he was amazing, and then we ended up doing a pilot together playing a couple, also for Ron Moore, called 17th Precinct, that never made it to air. But he was, so you come in, and if there is somebody that has either known your work or maybe you've worked with before, and that always makes it easier.
Have you, what actors have you had that experience with of coming in, like, say, finding out that you're hosting Tricia Helfer's panel and going, oh, I'm not ready for this, I was excited. Like any actors that you were thrilled to work with, that you knew their work, that you were just...
Tim Roth, when I did Lie to Me.
Okay.
Funny story with Tim, because, as you commented, I'm rather tall. And
I think normal size.
yeah, me too. And Tim is not so tall, and it was a direct offer, you know, straight offer, and I kind of, I had an anxiety, a bit of an anxiety attack the day out before I was supposed to go in for my fitting, and I went, you know, can you just call them up? I told my team, can you call up the producers and make sure they know how tall I am, because I don't want to get there and then do the fitting and then meet Tim and then be fired, you know? And they called back and they're like, they know how tall you are, it's fine. And I get to set, and Tim just could not have been lovelier. He was amazing to work with, and he made a joke of it the whole time. He was like, my wife is 5'10", and you know, I have no problem at all. But you get some actors that are self-conscious and they don't want somebody that's taller, you know, taller than to be on set, either a male or female. And then you get people like Tim, that's, you know, an amazing actor, and he's like, I don't care. I'll stand on an apple box, because to him it's about the work, it's not about vanity, you know? And he's like, I'll stand on an apple box or whatever, and then you cheat, and if you don't see the feet, I'm not wearing high heels, or, and we had this one scene, I was kind of leaning against a car, and he looks and he kind of laughs, the shot's like here, because I always ask where the shot is, if it's 3/4, if your feet are in it, and most of the time if your feet aren't in it, almost every female actress has flats on, instead of their high heels. But he goes, you have this uncanny ability to make yourself seem shorter. Because here I am, we're doing a scene and I have flats on, but I'm still taller than him. But the shot is to here, and then below the shot, I'm like this. But I'm talking fine, up here is all the same. And he's like, you have this uncanny ability to make yourself seem shorter. I'm like, yeah, I'm thrown out of here.
I take photos, I work on My Little Pony comics, and I have little girls come up and want their photo taken, and I have to do that too, so that we're actually still in the same frame. And I thought that, I was wondering about that because I know like Mark Valley is not tall, and you were a human target, but it was shot differently. You didn't look like you were particularly tall compared to him in that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not, I think probably we're fairly similar, bare feet type thing. I may be a little bit taller, but yeah, they're, sorry, I'm getting over a cold, as you probably all know, because I've seen you at my table. So I'm like, I don't really want to shake hands. But there is, like, vanity-wise, there should be no reason, like, people come in all different shapes and sizes, so who cares if somebody's taller than the other, or a woman's taller than the man on the show, or whatever. But technically, it can be difficult, because especially if you're in a close-up, just in terms of the filming of it, you'll have somebody's chin and somebody's top of their head. So you have to, you know, so you can't do that. If you're in a close-up, you want to, it's odd framing, right? So there's tricks to it where somebody will be on an apple box, or somebody will be, you know, kneeling, or whatever it is, or they've done, you know, famous shots of, you know, I can't remember the name of the movie, but some old famous movie is like they dug a trench. So the one person is walking in a trench, or they'll do a row of apple boxes and somebody's walking on top. But then you have to be careful when you're doing it, is that it doesn't look like you're stepping up onto the apple box when you get there. But I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's good. So let's talk about Battlestar Galactica. You get the role of Six. Did you get to read the script before you were cast? Were you cast first?
James Callis and I were cast last.
Okay.
I got the script right before Christmas. As I mentioned, it was my first year of acting, and I played a guest role on CSI and an independent film with Judd Nelson that year.
Okay.
And then I got the casting director that cast me on CSI brought me to audition for Battlestar. And I got the script right before Christmas, and I took it home to Christmas, and I remember just being blown away by the script. I think it was fantastic. And it was my, right back from Christmas holidays, it was January 6th. I remember I auditioned, and had a really good audition, but at that time I was a nobody in the business, and they weren't quite sure if they were going to do something a little bit more CGI with the role, or they were going out to more names in the business, and nobody was taking it. At that time, sci-fi, Battlestar kind of put sci-fi channel a little bit on the map. Mm-hmm. So they had Eddie James almost, and Mary McDonnell, and so they were like, okay, who else can we get? And for 2 months, I never heard anything. And then 2 months later, it kind of came back, and I went in again, and then I ended up testing for it, and ultimately I got the job, obviously. But yeah, they weren't sure. They weren't sure about me because I did good in the audition room, but I had 2 things on my resume. So it was, you know, they took a chance on me.
Now, did the script, I want to put this right, did the script scare you? Because your first scene, you kill a kid, which is hard to bond with the audience after you've done that. And as it's set up, mostly, you're in the room with a lot of other actors, but you're actually only acting with one of them. Were you worried about either of those aspects?
Not the killing of the kid. That was just part of the...
They're a renewable resource.
No, I mean, that almost never made it to the actual final product, actually, because there was a lot of suits back in Hollywood that were very worried about that. But Michael Reimer, who directed it, and myself, we both wanted it to be, and purposely made it, hopefully that came across, as more of a mercy killing. And we discussed at length about this in terms of making it, you know, her fascinated by this innocent child and actually being taken in by it, and in that moment deciding to end the child's life quickly and swiftly instead of possibly quite horrendously later on, you know, a couple hours later by the bombs. And then around in post they messed with how loud the crowd should be and all that kind of thing. So it didn't scare me because to me it was part of the story, and I understood. I immediately kind of understood what that had to do, and it really was pivotal in the story in terms of, oh, this is serious. I mean, if they're going to kill a baby, then what else is?
Yeah, it's a really brave storytelling choice.
Yeah, and in terms of the Head Six, I didn't know where it was going after that. I certainly didn't know that I was going to have multiple characters in later seasons and things like that. So it was my first series, so I didn't really know. I thought technically it was going to be a challenge, and it was. But I didn't know what she was. You know, it's not like we didn't find out to the end. I didn't know if at the last season last episode we were gonna find out that she really was a chip in his head, or what. Like, so a lot of the characters, they had a lot more backstory and history to go on because Ron Moore had done a series Bible, and where he wrote out to all the cast and crew, everybody got this. I still have it at home, and I'm saving it for that one huge charity auction sometime that I can donate it to. But it was really, the camera guys got it, everybody got it in terms of it described the style of filming, it described the hallways, it described the look, like everything. And for all the lead characters, it had a 2 or 3 page backstory. And for some of you, I've told this story before, so some of you have probably heard it, but for Number 6, I mean, so Edward James Olmos has a 2 or 3 page backstory from Ron Moore. Not the youngest age-wise, but the newest actor on set had one line, the machine as woman. And I was like, Ron, I'm the most naive one, not naive, but inexperienced one here. And he's like, I haven't decided everything about the Cylons yet, and you're the known Cylon, so I can't give you. Even Boomer, even though, at this point Ron knew she was, and in the finale of the miniseries you find out that Sharon Boomer was. Her backstory was her imprinted, like her human, who she thought she was. So that's what she was playing off of. So I went into it just knowing I had to be fairly fluid. I had to go into it with my own backstory and my own ideas for the character, which you do as an actor anyway. But I didn't have any supplemental guidance from the creator of the show that everybody else did. So from that moment, I realized I have to be fluid. I have to be able to just kind of go, okay, I don't know what this character is, but I'm going to go with it. And I've ended up using that. It's benefited me in some other roles, over time. I think because in episodic television a lot compared to a film you have the beginning, middle, and end when you start. So you know the whole character arc, you know the story arc. Sorry, I keep looking this way, and there's a whole bunch of you over here, but my chair's faced this way. Sorry. You know the whole character arc and story arc. But But with episodic television, you don't, because they're writing it as you're going along. So it can kind of drive some actors crazy sometimes, because you find out something later on in an episode, you know, a couple of episodes down, you're like, ugh, if I had known that, I would have played something slightly different. And so the whole number 6 thing and not really knowing kind of has helped me be a little bit more relaxed sometimes in episodic, in television, because I'm like, you know, what you don't know, you don't know. You kind of just got to go.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've done a lot of drama, but you've done some comedy. Do you, because you've done Con Man, and then you were on, actually I was flipping through channels just this week, and I caught you on 2.5 Men. Is it different for you doing comedy? Do you like doing comedy over drama, or how does that work?
I like doing both. I wouldn't say like full on. I mean, 2.5 Men was fun. I did a couple of episodes of that, and I did another multicam comedy with Dave Foley. You guys probably haven't seen it because it was a Canadian show that went for 2 seasons up there, and I went up for 1 season and played Dave Foley's ex-wife. And Paul Campbell, who was Billy on Battlestar Galactica, was also one of the leads in it. And I had so much fun. Dave Foley is he's a brilliant actor to work with. If you know him, Kids in the Hall and things
News Radio.
Yeah, News Radio and everything. And so that was really fun, but I wouldn't say that kind of either improv or, you know, ha-ha-ha, or, you know, laugh track type thing is my forte necessarily. But I love, and I've done quite a bit of comedy in the terms of where it's quirky. It's not really laugh track comedy, but and more in films, more in independent films. I did one with Harvey Keitel called Beginner's Guide to Endings, and then I did one another one that went to Toronto International Film Festival called Walk All Over Me. And a few other ones, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but Lucifer was also in that kind of category where it's dramatic, there's dramatic elements, but there's also some comedy to it. And that, I really like that, because you kind of get the best of both worlds. Mm-hmm. You get to have some scenes where it's just about having fun and being funny, and then there's other scenes where you're pulling out the heartstrings. So I'd like to do more of that, and I've had more of that in films, independent films, than I have in television.
Yeah, it kind of lets you play with all the colors.
Yeah.
Now, I did ask someone about you because you actually co-starred in a movie with a friend of mine, Mark Lutz, who was in Finding Chris.
Yes, a Hallmark movie.
Yes, that's why I brought it up, because I'm like, I was going through your list, I'm like, oh my god, I saw that movie with him. And I asked him for something to tell, or so I could use, and he's like, it went great, I have nothing. The only thing was that the Maple Leafs game was going on when you were filming, so nobody was paying attention to you and him making out. They were paying attention to the Stanley Cup, the crew was, when you were working.
I don't really remember that, but yeah, quite often it's with hockey in Canada for sure, but you find it down here with a baseball game or something.